Welcome back to the Profitable Mindset Podcast. We're diving into some incredible comeback stories today. People who went from struggling financially to achieving some pretty inspiring success. Get ready to be motivated as we unpack how they turned things around.
It's like those financial fairy tales, but these are true. It's always fascinating to see how regular people transform their financial lives.
For sure. All right, let's kick things off with Sarah. She was a single mom working multiple jobs, barely making ends meet. But she had this dream of financial freedom, and she found inspiration in the world of investing.
10 years later?
10 years later, Sarah is living that dream. Financially independent, free to spend her time how she pleases.
It's amazing how she turned that vision into reality. Not just wishing for a better future, but she set that concrete goal, financial independence, within 10 years.
But I heard her first investment dipped. That must have been tough.
Absolutely. It would make anyone doubt their plan, but that's where her dedication to learning really stands out,
Yeah.
Instead of panicking, Sarah doubled down on educating herself. Studying legendary investors like Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham, she learned how to identify those undervalued companies, the ones with a strong competitive advantage, what Buffett calls a moat.
Interesting.
That knowledge, that's what allowed her to see the long-term potential and ride out those initial market fluctuations.
So basically, she turned knowledge into her weapon against fear.
Exactly. And her long-term thinking was crucial. Sarah consistently invested and reinvested her dividends. The magic of compounding, right?
Right. Small, consistent efforts over time.
They build upon themselves. It's powerful.
Her story is really inspiring. Shows that financial freedom is out there for anyone if they have the right mindset and commitment to learning.
Couldn't agree more. Now, let's shift gears, talk about a different comeback story. This is James. He was a young trader, and unfortunately, he lost everything. Impulsive decisions, overconfidence.
Wow, that must have been a blow. Both financially and emotionally. A lot of people would have just thrown in the towel.
Yeah, but James, he didn't quit. He knew his downfall wasn't the market's fault. It was his own doing. So he committed himself to education, devouring classic trading books, even worked with a mentor.
So basically, he went back to school for trading.
He did. And a key part of his transformation, implementing strict risk management rules. He had a rule to never risk more than 1% of his account on any single trade.
Smart, like a financial safety net.
You got it. Protects you from wiping out your account on one bad trade. And on top of that, James started meticulously tracking his trades in a journal, analyzing the why behind each trade.
So like a feedback loop for his trading decisions.
Precisely. By studying his past performance, he was able to identify patterns in his behavior, refined his strategy over time, and that's what allowed him to go from reckless to disciplined and profitable.
James's story makes me think of that quote, "Every master was once a disaster." It's all about learning from your mistakes.
Turning them into opportunities. I like that. Now let's switch gears again. Talk about Mark. He embodies thinking differently, going against the crowd.
Oh, he's a contrarian investor.
You got it.
During a major financial crisis, when everyone was panicking, Mark saw an opportunity, a chance to buy undervalued assets.
You got to admire his courage, right? Most people will be running for the hills.
Totally. But Mark, he wasn't fazed. He had this clear set of investment criteria, focused on companies with strong financials, meaning low debt, consistent profitability. And then he also looked for companies with a clear competitive advantage, that edge that sets them apart,
A moat, like we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And lastly, he looked for companies whose valuations were discounted. Their stock price was lower than what he thought they were actually worth.
It's like he had this mental checklist to filter out the noise, focus on the fundamentals.
That's a great way to put it. And it paid off.
Yeah.
As the market recovered, his portfolio skyrocketed. He understood that market sentiment can be irrational, especially in the short term.
And he's stuck to his criteria.
Yep. Bought when others were selling, reaped the rewards.
Mark's success shows the value of independent thinking, that conviction to stick to your principles even when everyone else is freaking out.
It reminds us that sometimes the best opportunities come when everyone else is afraid. Speaking of overcoming challenges, let's talk about Emily. She went from being buried under a mountain of debt to creating a life of financial freedom.
Emily's story, it's incredibly relatable. Debt is a reality for so many people. She was a single mom struggling to make ends meet.
It's inspiring how she took control. Emily implemented the debt snowball method, focusing on paying off the smallest debt first.
It's all about building momentum. It's like psychologically, it's motivating to knock those smaller debts out early.
Yeah, get a sense of accomplishment.
It keeps you going.
Exactly. And on top of that, Emily started side hustles to increase her income, attacking the debt from both sides, increasing income and decreasing expenses.
Once she hit financial stability, she started investing in dividend-paying stocks specifically.
Oh, so she was essentially getting paid just for owning the stock.
Exactly. It's passive income, right?
Yeah.
But Emily was smart. She didn't pick just any dividend-paying stock. She focused on companies with a strong history of paying dividends, low payout ratios, meaning they weren't paying out more than they could afford, and stable financials, too, with healthy balance sheets and consistent earnings.
Sounds like she was a savvy investor.
She was. And by reinvesting those dividends, she was able to accelerate the growth of her portfolio, that power of compounding at work again.
It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into a tree.
You got it.
Emily's story is a great example of how anyone, even facing overwhelming debt, can achieve financial freedom with smart strategies and determination.
Absolutely. Now, for something different, let's talk about Andrew, his journey. All about those bold moves in the real estate market. He wasn't content with his job and wanted more.
So he found his calling in real estate.
You got it. Decided to invest in a rundown duplex in a neighborhood that a lot of people considered risky, saw potential where others saw danger.
But he didn't go in blindly.
Right. No. Andrew approached it strategically, did his research, ran the numbers.
The due diligence.
He analyzed comparable property prices, made sure he was getting a good deal, carefully calculated that potential rental income to make sure it'd cover expenses and generate profit.
Treated it like a business, not a gamble.
Exactly. Calculated risk versus reckless gambling. He created a safety net in case things went south.
Even with all the planning, I bet there were challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Renovations always have those unexpected repairs, delays, things that could derail your plans.
But Andrew persevered.
Oh, yeah. Adapted to those challenges. Found solutions. And as the neighborhood started to improve, that investment paid off big time.
Property values
skyrocketed, rental income increased. Eventually, he was able to leave his corporate job, focused on real estate full-time.
Classic story of calculated risk, hard work, and vision.
Leading to those incredible rewards. Now, for a complete change of pace, let's hear about Clara's approach, all about patience and disciplined investing. Started young, in her early 20s, thanks to some wise advice from her dad.
Early bird gets the worm, as they say.
Exactly. And that early start gave her a huge advantage. Clara began by contributing a small amount of her income to low-cost index funds. Those funds that track a specific market index, like the S&P 500.
Yeah. Good way to diversify, reduce risk.
Exactly. And she understood that time was her greatest ally. Starting early meant she could harness the power of compounding over the long term.
And she did face market downturns, I'm sure.
Oh, of course, over the years. But she never wavered, didn't panic and sell. She saw those dips as opportunities to buy more shares at a discount.
Like buying stocks on sale.
Exactly. Clara knew those market fluctuations are normal. She focused on the long game, understanding that success in investing requires riding out those storms.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
You got it. And Clara's story shows that those small, consistent investments, with a little bit of patience, can generate remarkable results over time.
Absolutely. Now on to someone who faced a major financial setback. This is Daniel. His story shows how to rebuild even after devastating losses.
Daniel's story. It's a roller coaster, full of highs and lows. He started out strong as a trader, quick success.
But then what happened?
He over-leveraged himself, borrowed too much money to invest, which amplified his risk, right? And then a market correction hit. He lost almost everything.
A stark reminder that even the most skilled traders can make mistakes, especially with overconfidence and poor risk management.
It's true. But what's inspiring is that Daniel refused to be defined by this defeat. He acknowledged his mistakes, took responsibility, and dedicated himself to rebuilding.
That growth mindset, right? Seeing setbacks as opportunities.
Exactly. He went back to basics, studied risk management, learned how to determine the appropriate position size for each trade, diversified his investments,
rebuilt his trading foundation from the ground up.
Stronger and more stable than before. And for accountability, he implemented strict rules, limited his risk per trade to 1% of his account, kept a detailed trading journal, tracked his decisions, analyzed his performance.
Wow, so he really transformed that setback into a catalyst for growth.
He did. Showed that even after a huge loss, it's possible to rebuild and come back even stronger.
That's powerful. Now, for something completely different, let's talk about Priya. Her story proves you don't need a fortune to start building wealth.
Priya's story, it's about starting small and letting that magic of compounding do its thing. She came from humble beginnings, didn't have a lot of knowledge about finance, but she was determined to create a better future.
So how did you get started?
Priya started by investing just $20 a month in fractional shares of blue chip companies and ETFs, those pieces of whole shares, allows you to invest in companies with those high share prices even on a small budget.
Smart. It's a good way to dip your toes in the stock market.
Exactly. And she focused on companies with that history of stable growth and dividends, setting herself up for long-term success.
It wasn't just about investing, though, right? She made lifestyle changes, too.
Absolutely. Priya adopted a minimalist lifestyle, chose to live below her means so she could save more, took on side hustles, found creative ways to boost her income. She even started a blog, shared her journey and financial tips with others.
It's about taking action, finding those creative solutions.
You got it. Priya's story. It's a perfect example of how those small, consistent efforts snowball over time. As she continued investing and reinvesting her earnings, her portfolio grew steadily. Eventually, it was generating enough passive income to cover her living expenses.
Wow, what a journey. From humble beginnings to financial freedom. It shows that with the right mindset, anyone can achieve financial success.
Absolutely. Now let's dive into a story about someone who mastered the art of trading through self-learning and a lot of improvement. This is Michael. He was fascinated by those financial markets, viewed trading as a puzzle to be solved.
Like a game.
Yeah, a game he was determined to win.
And he didn't have a formal financial background.
No, he didn't. So he dove into books, online forums, courses, absorbed everything he could about technical analysis, trading strategies.
That's amazing, though. It shows how accessible trading education is.
It really is. You don't need a fancy degree or expensive courses to learn the basics. There are so many resources available online and in libraries for those willing to put in the effort.
And Michael didn't just passively absorb information, did he?
No way. He applied what he learned, tested those strategies in a demo account.
The risk-free environment.
Exactly. So he could practice trading with virtual money. Perfect for testing strategies, refining his approach without risking real capital.
It's like training wheels for traders.
You got it. And Michael realized early on that experience is as valuable as theoretical knowledge. Testing those approaches, he figured out what worked for him and what didn't.
I bet his early years were full of ups and downs.
Like any beginning trader, right? He chased trends, overtraded, neglected risk management sometimes.
Classic mistakes.
But what set him apart was that willingness to learn from them. He saw each setback as an opportunity.
To grow.
To grow. He developed this feedback loop, analyzed every trade, identified patterns in his behavior, and adjusted his strategy and mindset.
It's like that continuous improvement cycle.
Exactly. And through this process, Michael developed his own unique trading strategy, focused on high probability setups with favorable risk-reward ratios.
So he became a master of reading charts, identifying trends.
Understanding market psychology. But just as importantly, he had those strict risk management rules, his safety net.
Even if he was wrong on a trade, it wouldn't wipe him out.
Exactly. He understood that trading isn't just about winning, it's about managing those losses effectively. And he cultivated this disciplined mindset. Recognized emotions could be a trader's worst enemy. He practiced mindfulness to stay calm and focused, developed pre-trade rituals.
To make sure he was entering every trade with a clear head.
Right. He realized trading is as much about psychology as it is about technical analysis.
Mind over matter.
You got it. Michael's journey shows that anyone with dedication and the right mindset can develop their own winning strategy.
It's inspiring. Now, switching gears again, let's talk about a story that illustrates how even a big setback can be a springboard for success in real estate. Let's talk about Lisa, right?
You got it. Lisa's story is all about resilience and turning that adversity into opportunity. It started with a heartbreaking experience. A foreclosure cost her home.
Oh, that's tough. That would have been devastating for a lot of people.
It would have crushed many. But Lisa, instead of giving up, she used this setback as fuel.
Wow.
She knew she couldn't change the past, but she could control her response.
So she dove headfirst into real estate, right?
She immersed herself in it, learned everything she could about investing, auctions, renovation strategies. She didn't just want to recover from her loss, she wanted to thrive.
And did she ever?
She did. Started small, buying distressed properties at those foreclosure auctions, renovating them herself to save money, and then either renting them out for passive income or selling them for a profit.
She was Basically flipping houses.
You got it. Transforming rundown properties into those valuable assets. And her hands-on approach. That was key to her success. Wasn't afraid of hard work, always looking for ways to improve her skills, her strategies.
And as her confidence grew, I'm guessing she started scaling up.
She did. Partnered with other investors, got financing from banks, started taking on bigger projects, went from flipping single-family homes to developing those multifamily properties.
Wow, she really built an empire.
She did. Her story is a great example of starting small and gradually expanding as you learn and gain resources. And Lisa's journey didn't end with her own financial success, you know. She went on to mentor other aspiring real estate investors, sharing her knowledge, experience, helping others succeed.
That's awesome, paying it forward.
Exactly. She understood the power of giving back, using her success to empower others. Now let's talk about tech investing. Alex's story shows us the rewards of betting big on innovation. Riding the wave of that tech boom, he had a knack for spotting future trends. Fascinated by technology.
It sounds like he was an early adopter.
Oh, absolutely. Online shopping, streaming services, electric vehicles, he was all over it.
Yeah.
He saw the potential before most people even knew it was coming.
A true visionary.
And one of his earliest and most successful investments was in a company that back then was considered a huge risk, Tesla.
Wow. At the time, a lot of people doubted electric vehicles.
Yeah, they saw it as a niche market, doubted Tesla's ability to compete with those established automakers, but Alex, he saw it differently.
What did he see?
He believed in the company's vision, their potential to change transportation, and he invested accordingly. Didn't just dip his toes in, he went all in.
And it paid off, big time.
It did. Tesla's stock price soared. Alex's initial investment turned into a fortune. But it wasn't just luck. He understood the tech landscape, you know?
So he did his research.
Constantly. Researched new innovations, attended conferences, networked with entrepreneurs. He wasn't just investing in companies, he was investing in the future.
Smart. And his passion for technology didn't stop at investing, did it?
Nope. He mentored startups, shared his knowledge and experience to help those next-generation innovators succeed.
Paying it forward again.
You got it. Alex's story is a good reminder. Investing in technology isn't just about making money. It's about being part of something bigger, something that can change the world.
It's about making a difference. Now let's shift gears to a story that highlights the importance of mastering your emotions in trading. Sophia's story. She started out technically proficient, knew the charts, understood the indicators, but
She realized her emotions were holding her back. She was chasing losses, holding on to losing trades for too long, hoping they'd turn around, and exiting winning trades way too early out of fear.
letting her emotions control her decisions?
Yeah, taking her on that roller coaster ride. Fear, greed, frustration, leading to those inconsistent results.
A common problem for traders.
It is. But Sophia recognized her mindset was the biggest obstacle. To be consistently successful, she needed to master her emotions.
Easier said than done.
Right. So she sought guidance from a trading mentor who introduced her to the concept of trading psychology.
Interesting. So what's that all about?
It's all about understanding and managing those psychological factors that influence trading decisions. Fear, greed, overconfidence, they can be your worst enemies in the market.
It's about realizing the market is designed to exploit those emotions. If you're not careful, they can lead to irrational choices.
Exactly. Sophia started by becoming aware of her emotional triggers. You know, those specific market events or situations that cause her to react emotionally.
Okay, I see.
And she kept a detailed trading journal, not just to track trades, but to record her emotional state during each decision. This helped her identify patterns and see how her emotions were influencing her trading.
She was studying her own mind.
She became a scientist of her own mind. And through that self-awareness, she developed strategies. Started practicing mindfulness meditation to improve focus and reduce anxiety. Mindfulness can be so helpful for traders because it teaches you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. You can respond to market events more calmly and objectively.
I can see how that would be beneficial.
Right. And to further boost her emotional resilience, she created pre-trade rituals to make sure she was in the right state of mind before entering any trade. Maybe taking a few deep breaths, reviewing her plan, visualizing a successful outcome.
Like a mental warm-up routine.
You got it. And over time, those practices, they paid off. Sophia gained better control of her emotions, which meant she could stick to her plan, ride her winners longer, cut her losses quickly. She became more disciplined and consistent, and her results, they reflected that improvement.
That's fantastic. So controlling her emotions actually led to better trading outcomes.
Exactly. Her story is a great example for any trader who struggles with those mental challenges of the market. It's a reminder that trading success isn't just about skills, it's about mastering your mind.
Mind over matter. Now let's move to a story about community and collaboration in achieving trading success. David's story, right. He started out thinking trading was a solo thing. But
He quickly learned the benefits of connecting with others. He was a lone wolf trader, liked working in isolation, but then he realized he was limiting himself. So he started going to trading seminars, joining online communities, connecting with other traders in his area, really immersed himself in that trading community.
and that opened up a whole new world for him.
It did. He got access to valuable knowledge, resources, learned about new strategies, received feedback on his approach, even found mentorship opportunities.
He was no longer alone in the game.
He wasn't, and he thrived in that collaborative environment. One of the most impactful relationships he formed was with an experienced trader named Laura. She became his mentor.
Mentors can be such valuable assets.
They really are. Like having a shortcut to success, right? They've already walked the path you're on and can help you avoid those pitfalls.
It's like having a guide in the wilderness. And as David's network expanded, did his opportunities expand too?
Absolutely. He landed a position at a proprietary trading firm, worked with other traders to develop algorithmic trading strategies, using computer programs to automate trading decisions.
That's fascinating. So he went from solo trading to working with a team of experts.
He did. And he even joined investment syndicates to pool resources with other investors so they could invest in those high-growth startups together. His story really highlights the power of networking and collaboration.
Working together, sharing knowledge, achieving more than you could alone.
Exactly. And David didn't just benefit from collaboration, he gave back too. Started a mentorship program, hosted networking events, helped connect those aspiring traders with seasoned professionals.
A true leader in the trading community.
You got it. His story is a powerful reminder. We don't have to go it alone. By embracing collaboration, seeking out mentors, building a strong network, we can accelerate our growth and unlock those possibilities.
Absolutely. Now for our final story in this segment, let's talk about someone who achieved amazing financial success and used that success to make a real impact on the world. Rachel's story, right?
That's right. Her story is all about creating a legacy of wealth and using it for good. She spent decades building this incredibly successful portfolio, but as her wealth grew, so did her desire to give back.
She wanted to make a difference.
Exactly. Her journey is a perfect example of how financial success can be a launch pad for philanthropy and social impact.
It's not just about making money, it's about using it to make the world a better place.
You got it. Rachel took a strategic approach to her philanthropy. She focused on 3 main areas.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, financial literacy programs, empowering people to manage their money wisely. Second, educational scholarships, to help underprivileged students achieve their dreams. And third, community investment projects, to revitalize struggling neighborhoods.
So she was really focused on creating opportunities and breaking cycles of poverty.
She was. And she didn't just write checks. She was actively involved. Taught financial literacy workshops, mentored those scholarship recipients, partnered with local organizations to implement those community development projects.
She put her heart and soul into it.
She did. Her hands-on approach made her contributions even more meaningful, and it inspired others to get involved too.
What an incredible legacy. Rachel's story is a true inspiration. It shows how financial success can create a ripple effect of positive change. It's about more than just personal gain. It's about making a difference in the world.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, folks, that wraps up this segment of the Profitable Mindset podcast.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
Stay tuned for the next part, where we delve even deeper into the strategies and mindsets that propel these incredible individuals toward financial success. We'll uncover those actionable insights that you can apply to your own journey. And remember, financial freedom is within your reach.
Absolutely. With the right knowledge, the right mindset, and a little bit of inspiration, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving toward those financial goals. We'll be back soon with more inspiring stories and practical tips to help you on your journey.
Thanks for listening.
It's inspiring, right? Hearing these stories of people completely transforming their finances, overcoming setbacks, starting small, building wealth, mastering those technical skills, conquering those emotional challenges.
It is amazing. Individuals from all walks of life achieving financial success, and even using their wealth to make a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely. And one thing that stands out to me, that emphasis on continuous learning.
Yeah, it wasn't just about reading a book or two, was it?
It was about this constant thirst for knowledge, that commitment to self-improvement. That's what fueled their growth.
Sarah, the single mom, immersed herself in the world of investing giants.
And James, the trader, he meticulously analyzed every single move he made, all to refine his strategy.
They weren't just looking for information.
No, they were actively putting what they learned into practice, adapting, constantly looking for ways to improve.
And it wasn't just about the technical stuff either.
No, they also knew how important emotional intelligence is.
They realized that fear and greed, they could sabotage everything. And they actively worked to manage those emotions.
Sophia's journey battling those emotional pitfalls of trading, that's a lesson we can all learn from.
Definitely. Learning to detach from those market swings is just as important as any technical indicator.
It's about recognizing what triggers us emotionally, developing strategies, and really cultivating a mindset that supports our financial goals.
Absolutely. And speaking of support, let's not forget the power of community. David, the lone wolf trader, he discovered the magic of networking, showed us that success isn't always a solo mission.
Collaboration, mentorship, learning from each other, those can be real game changers.
David's story, it reminds us to seek out mentors, join those supportive networks, and really embrace those shared experiences.
And Rachel's story, it showed us that real wealth isn't just about accumulating money.
It's about using what you have to make a difference, leave a positive impact.
She dedicated a significant portion of her wealth to supporting causes she cared about: financial literacy, education, community development.
What's remarkable is she wasn't just writing checks.
No, she was actively involved in those initiatives, teaching workshops, mentoring students, partnering with those organizations.
It was about giving her time, her energy, her expertise, not just her money.
Exactly. Her story. It's a testament to that transformative power of giving back.
It really is. It's about understanding that wealth can be a tool for positive change, for empowering others, for creating a legacy that lives on.
And now let's switch gears. Talk about rebuilding after setbacks. Daniel's story is a powerful example of resilience and the importance of learning from our mistakes.
Daniel's journey as a trader was a roller coaster. Those exhilarating highs, those crushing lows.
He experienced devastating losses, but he didn't let those setbacks define him.
That's resilience.
He took responsibility, analyzed his weaknesses, and rebuilt his approach, with this renewed focus on discipline and risk management.
So he basically turned his failures into stepping stones.
Exactly. His story reminds us that failures, they're not the end, they're opportunities to grow.
It's about picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and coming back stronger, wiser.
Couldn't agree more. And that leads us back to the importance of community and collaboration. David's story, it highlighted the power of networking, mentorship, surrounding yourself with people who want to see you grow.
David, he started out as that lone wolf, but he quickly realized he was missing out.
He started attending industry events, joining online communities, connecting with other traders.
And those connections opened up so many doors.
They did. He gained access to new ideas, resources, opportunities, built this strong network of support, and that helped him achieve more.
It's amazing how powerful a supportive community can be.
It is. His story reminds us we don't have to do it alone. By building that network, finding mentors, collaborating, we can achieve so much more together.
Absolutely. Now, let's go back to Priya's story. Remember, starting small and building wealth gradually.
Her journey, it's all about consistency, discipline, and that magic of compounding.
She didn't start with a lot, did she?
Priya, she came from humble beginnings, didn't have a lot to invest, but she started with what she could, just $20 a month. And she consistently invested in quality companies.
Small steps, big results.
Over time, those small contributions, combined with that compounding effect, they grew into a substantial portfolio, and that allowed her to achieve financial independence.
Her story is inspiring for anyone who might be intimidated by investing.
It really is. It reminds us you don't need a lot of money to get started. Just start early, be consistent, and let time do its thing.
Speaking of time doing its thing, let's talk about Clara, her story. It's all about patience and disciplined investing.
Clara, she started young, early 20s. She understood that time was on her side.
She was playing the long game.
She was. Consistently contributed to low-cost index funds, reinvested her earnings, and never strayed from her plan. Even when the market dipped.
She stayed the course.
She did. And that long-term perspective paid off. By her mid-40s, her portfolio had grown significantly. She achieved financial independence and was able to live life on her own terms.
That's what it's all about. Clara's journey, it just goes to show that investing, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's about having a plan, sticking to it, and letting time work its magic.
Now we've talked about learning from mistakes, rebuilding after those setbacks. But what about those people who achieve success and still feel like something's missing?
That feeling of emptiness.
Andrew's story. It reminds us that true fulfillment, it comes from aligning your financial goals with your passions, your values.
Andrew, he had a stable job, but it wasn't enough.
No. So he took a chance, invested in that rundown duplex, remember, in that up-and-coming neighborhood, turned it into a successful rental property.
He found his calling.
He did. And that ignited his passion for real estate. He kept investing, expanding his portfolio. Eventually, he quit his corporate job to focus on real estate full-time.
He took a risk, and it paid off.
It did. His story reminds us that taking those calculated risks, following your passions, they can lead to financial success and personal fulfillment.
Finding that balance where your financial goals and your values intersect.
Exactly. And that brings us to innovation, recognizing those opportunities before they become mainstream. Alex's story. It's a perfect example. He saw the potential of technology early on, invested in Amazon, Tesla, when they were still relatively small.
He had that vision.
His success, it was driven by his ability to spot those disruptive trends, his willingness to embrace those innovations, and his long-term vision.
It's about seeing what others don't.
It is. It's a reminder to stay informed about those new technologies. Be willing to take those calculated risks, because that can lead to huge returns, especially in tech.
Now, Sophia's story, it emphasized the importance of constantly learning, especially when it comes to the psychology of trading.
She realized her emotions were getting in the way of her success, and she really dedicated herself to understanding the psychological responses to the market.
She dug deep.
She did. She learned about those emotional biases, mindfulness techniques, even developed a pre-trade routine, all to make sure she was making rational decisions, not impulsive ones.
It's like training your mind for the game of trading.
It is. Her story reminds us that trading, it's not just about technical skills, it's about developing that mental strength.
Now let's talk about Rachel's story. Remember, she focused on creating a lasting legacy.
She dedicated a large part of her wealth to causes she believed in: financial literacy, education, community development.
She wasn't just focused on her own financial success.
No, her philanthropic efforts went beyond money. She was teaching workshops, mentoring students, working side by side with organizations.
It was about making a real impact.
Her story, it inspires anyone who wants to use their resources for good, to leave a legacy that goes beyond their lifetime.
It's about recognizing that financial success can be a catalyst for positive change.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We've talked about individual journeys, but what about the power of community, of working together?
David's story. It highlighted how powerful networking and mentorship can be, especially when it comes to amplifying success.
He started out thinking he had to do it all alone.
He did, but he quickly realized that solo approach was holding him back. So he started going to those industry events, joining those online communities, connecting with other traders.
He's opened himself up to new possibilities.
He did, and those connections, they were priceless. He got access to new ideas, resources, and opportunities, built this incredible network of support that helped him reach new heights.
It's a great reminder that we're stronger together.
Exactly. We don't have to do it alone. By building a strong network, finding mentors, collaborating, we can achieve so much more together.
I mean, and it's not just about taking, it's about giving back too.
Right. Absolutely. Sharing your knowledge, mentoring others, helping others succeed, that's part of it too, like David did.
Now, let's not forget the importance of financial literacy, empowering others with the knowledge to manage their money.
Rachel's story, it's a perfect example of that. She dedicated a lot of her efforts to financial literacy programs, teaching people about personal finance, investing, entrepreneurship.
Giving them the tools to succeed.
Her goal was to empower people, help them take control of their financial futures, break those cycles of poverty.
Education is key.
It is. Her story reminds us that sharing our knowledge and experience can make a real difference.
Now, Alex's story.
Yeah.
It emphasized how important it is to adapt to change, especially in the world of technology.
He was one of the first to adopt things like e-commerce, cloud computing, electric vehicles.
He was ahead of the curve.
He saw how those technologies could disrupt entire industries, and he was willing to invest in those companies that were pushing the boundaries.
That's what separates the successful from the rest.
It is. His story reminds us that the world is always changing. Those who adapt quickly, they're often the ones who benefit the most.
Speaking of adapting, Sophia's story, it really highlighted the need to master our emotions, to develop that strong trading psychology.
She realized her emotional reactions to the market were holding her back, and she dedicated herself to understanding and managing those emotions.
It's not easy to control those impulses.
No, it's not. But she learned about emotional biases, mindfulness techniques, and developed that pre-trade routine to make sure she was making rational decisions, not letting her emotions take over.
That's powerful.
It is. Trading. It's not just about technical skills. It's about having that mental game.
Now, Daniel's story, it reminded us that we all make mistakes, but it's how we learn from them that matters.
He experienced those highs and lows as a trader, but he refused to let those setbacks define him.
He bounced back.
He took responsibility, analyzed his weaknesses, and rebuilt his approach with that renewed focus on discipline and managing risk.
That's what makes a winner.
It does. His story. It's a reminder that failures, they're not the end. They're opportunities.
Opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. It's about having the courage to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and come back stronger, wiser.
Now, Andrew's journey. It was a great reminder that it's important to find what you're passionate about and align your financial goals with your values.
He had a stable job, but he wasn't happy.
He was missing something.
Was. So he took a chance, invested in that rundown duplex, turned it into a successful rental property.
And that sparked something inside him.
It ignited his passion for real estate, and he never looked back. He expanded his portfolio, eventually left that corporate job, and focused on real estate full-time.
He took a leap of faith, and it changed his life.
It did. His story shows us that sometimes. You have to take those calculated risks, follow your passions, and it can lead to both financial and personal fulfillment.
It's about finding that balance where your financial goals and your values align.
Exactly. And speaking of finding your passion, Rachel's story emphasized the importance of giving back, creating a legacy that makes a difference.
She dedicated a significant portion of her wealth to causes she believed in.
Financial literacy, education, community development. She didn't just write checks, she was hands-on, teaching, mentoring, working with those organizations.
She was making a real impact.
She was. Her story. It inspires us to use our success for good, to create a legacy that lives beyond our lifetime.
It's about more than just personal gain. It's about leaving the world a better place.
And that brings us back to community, to collaboration, to the idea that we're stronger together.
David's story really brought that home, didn't it?
It did. He started out thinking trading was a solo thing, but he quickly realized the power of connecting with others, building that network of support.
And it completely changed the game for him.
It did. He gained access to new ideas, resources, opportunities, and he achieved so much more than he could have alone.
It's a reminder that we don't have to do it all by ourselves.
We don't. Seeking mentors, joining those communities, working together, that's how we unlock our true potential.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the importance of education, of sharing our knowledge, of empowering others to take control of their financial futures, like Rachel did.
Her story was a great reminder that knowledge is power. And by sharing what we know, we can make a real difference.
Now, Alex's story. It showed us the importance of being adaptable, of embracing those new technologies, especially in the fast-paced world of tech.
He was an early adopter. He saw the potential of e-commerce, cloud computing, electric vehicles before most people even knew what they were.
He was a visionary.
He was. And his story, it reminds us that the world is constantly changing. And to stay ahead, we have to embrace change, be willing to adapt.
Those who are quick to adapt are often the ones who see the greatest rewards.
Exactly. And finally, Sophia's story. It highlighted the importance of mastering those emotions, developing that strong trading psychology.
It's not easy to separate emotions from trading decisions.
It's not, but she learned how to do it through mindfulness, developing routines, and constantly being aware of her emotional state.
It's about having that mental discipline.
It is. And her story, it's a reminder that trading, it's not just about those technical skills, it's about mastering your mind.
Now remember Daniel's story. It reminded us that setbacks, they're inevitable.
He experienced both success and those devastating losses, but what set him apart, his refusal to give up.
He came back stronger.
He took responsibility, analyzed his mistakes, and rebuilt his approach. With more discipline, a better understanding of risk.
He turned those failures into lessons.
Exactly. His story. It's a reminder that setbacks, they're not the end. They're opportunities.
Opportunities to learn, to grow, and to come back even stronger.
Absolutely. And finally, Andrew's journey. It was a great example of finding your passion, aligning your financial goals with what you truly care about.
He had that stable job, but something was missing.
He took a chance, invested in that duplex, and discovered his love for real estate.
And it changed his life.
It did, his story. It highlights the power of taking those calculated risks, of following your heart. It can lead to financial success and personal fulfillment.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your work and your passions align.
Exactly. And that brings us to Rachel, her story. It emphasized the importance of giving back, creating a legacy that goes beyond just ourselves.
She used her wealth to support causes she was passionate about.
Financial literacy, education, community development. She was actively involved, teaching, mentoring, collaborating.
Making a real, tangible difference.
She was. Her story. It inspires us to use our success for good, to leave the world a better place.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to create positive change.
We do. And that brings us back to the power of community, of collaboration, of knowing we're stronger together.
David's story was a great illustration of that. He realized that by connecting with others, by building a strong network, he could achieve so much more.
He learned from others, they learned from him. It was a win-win.
His story reminds us that we don't have to go it alone.
We don't. We can seek out mentors, join those communities, work together, and that's how we unlock our true potential.
Absolutely. We've covered so much ground today. From the importance of mindset and discipline to the power of collaboration and giving back. What are some key takeaways our listeners can apply to their own journeys?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is this: financial success. It doesn't depend solely on luck or talent.
It's about making smart choices, developing good habits, and having the right mindset.
Exactly. These stories, they show us that financial success is possible, no matter where you come from or how much you start with.
It's about setting goals, educating yourself, taking action, and never giving up, even when things get tough.
And another important point, financial success is a journey. It's not a destination.
It's about constantly learning, adapting, and making sure your financial goals are aligned with your values, your purpose.
And we don't have to do it alone. By finding mentors, joining communities, collaborating with others, we can achieve so much more.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, financial success is not just about personal gain. It's about using our resources to make a positive impact, whether through philanthropy, mentorship, or simply sharing what we've learned.
These stories, they've been incredibly inspiring, and I hope they've given our listeners some food for thought.
I hope they feel empowered to create their own success stories.
Any final thoughts you want to share?
Remember, no matter where you are on your financial journey, you have the power to shape your future. Embrace those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. Surround yourself with people who support you, and never stop learning.
That's the key. Never stop learning. Never stop evolving.
And most importantly, find ways to use your success to make the world a better place. Your legacy is waiting to be written.
It's amazing, right? So many different paths to financial success. There's no one right way, but those common threads. Discipline, resilience, a hunger for knowledge, those definitely stand out. Each story we talked about really highlighted that commitment to continuous learning. And it wasn't just reading a book here and there. It was that deep desire to always be learning, always improving. That fueled their growth.
Like Sarah, the single mom. She really dove headfirst into the world of investing. Studied those legends.
And James, the trader, he meticulously analyzed every single trade he made just to refine his approach. They weren't satisfied with just knowing the basics.
No, they were constantly searching for ways to get better.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about the technical skills either. They understood how important emotional intelligence is, especially in the world of finance.
Because fear and greed, they can really derail your plans, no matter how well you've prepared.
Right. Sophia's journey was a great example of that. She had to learn how to detach from the emotional roller coaster of the market to make those clear-headed decisions.
Instead of letting her emotions make those decisions for her.
Exactly. And then there's David, the lone wolf trader who learned the power of community.
Yeah, he started out thinking he had to do it all alone, but he quickly realized that was holding him back.
He found so much value in collaboration, in mentorship, in learning from others who had been there before.
And his story is a reminder to all of us. We don't have to do it alone. There's power in surrounding yourself with supportive people, finding those mentors who can guide you.
And speaking of valuable lessons, Rachel's story really highlighted the importance of using your success to make a difference. It's not just about accumulating wealth, it's about giving back, creating a positive impact.
Her dedication to financial literacy, education, community development, it was truly inspiring. She understood that true wealth goes beyond just money. It's about making a difference in the lives of others.
Absolutely. And even when we face setbacks, like Daniel did with those devastating losses, these stories show us that it's possible to bounce back.
Daniel's journey really emphasized the power of resilience, the importance of learning from those mistakes.
He took responsibility for his actions, analyzed what went wrong, and came back even stronger. His story encourages us to see those setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and grow.
Now, Priya's story, it was all about the power of starting small. She didn't have a lot of money to invest, but she was consistent. And over time, those small, regular contributions really added up.
It's a reminder that you don't need a huge amount of money to get started. The key is to start somewhere. Be consistent, and let time work its magic.
Speaking of time working its magic, Clara's story showed us the importance of patience in investing.
She understood that investing is a long game. And by staying the course, even when the market was turbulent, she achieved incredible results. Her story reminds us that it's about having a plan, sticking to it, and not letting short-term fluctuations derail you from your long-term goals.
It's about focusing on that finish line, not getting distracted by the bungs along the way.
Exactly. These stories have been so inspiring. They really showcase the incredible resilience of the human spirit, the power we have to overcome challenges, achieve financial success, and use that success to make a positive impact on the world.
It's been an incredible journey, exploring these diverse paths to financial transformation. And we hope these stories have inspired you to think about your own financial journey.
Remember, financial success is within your reach, no matter where you're starting from.
It's about taking those first steps, educating yourself, seeking out support, and most importantly, never giving up on your dreams. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Profitable Mindset Podcast. We'll be back soon with more inspiring stories and practical advice to help you on your path to financial freedom.